We got an email question already, Lance. Let's go ahead and get to that. I was in a wreck. The other driver stopped suddenly in a parking lot and then backed up into me. After saying, "Sorry, it's my fault," she changed her story to her insurance to say, "I hit her. I thought I'd be okay without a police report because I had a witness in the car with me, but her insurance company says I can't use someone I know as a witness, and it's her story versus mine. He said, she said. So they have a duty to believe her. What's going on here?" And this is Richie. Lance, let's help unpack Richie's question here a little bit and talk about, parking lot accidents, talk about backing up accidents, talk about witnesses. How do we handle this?
I think Richie's best move is immediately to go ahead and hire an attorney, because you are going to need the help of a professional to work through this. The insurance company, they are trying to mislead you to some degree. There is no obligation that they believe they're insured, and there is no prohibition on you using one of your friends or someone you know as a witness. It's not always the most credible witness. You would ideally have someone who has no interest in the outcome at all to be your witness, but certainly having two people saying one thing versus one person saying another, your judge or your jury would judge the credibility of those folks, and it's still possible with having to allow your friend to testify on your behalf. But I think the most important thing here is, depending on the parking lot, you may be able to get actual objective evidence of exactly what took place, and that's why you need to get an attorney involved immediately. Most businesses these days have some form of video surveillance system. They're often very reluctant to turn that video footage over to you, but having someone like our office involved on your case early on in the process, we can at a minimum reach out to those companies and make sure that they've preserved that video footage, so if it does end up in litigation down the road, we have the ability to obtain that video footage from the store if there's video footage showing exactly what happened. This also, depending on the circumstances, could be an issue with fraud. You might even contact the sheriff's office to report that this person is trying, if they're making a claim against you in particular. It could be a situation where this does happen from time to time. They all of a sudden say that, "Well, you rear-ended me," when in fact they were backing up and struck you. So there's a lot going on here. Certainly if you're backing out of a parking spot, this kind of thing can happen, but if this could even be an instance of fraud, and you might want to get the authorities involved just from that basis.
It might be, and Lance, those are all great points. And you talk about the preservation of evidence letters that go out, and businesses that have their surveillance in the parking lot, and they have it out there for a variety of reasons. Right. Sometimes the big box stores have surveillance out there for prevent theft or loss prevention. If somebody takes something and shoplifts from the store, they want to try and track them down as best they can, and that evidence helps out when they're trying to track down a blue vehicle. Was it a blue Nissan? Was it a white Tundra? What is it that that somebody drove off in? But more importantly though, is you need to hire somebody immediately, because these surveillance systems do not perpetually hold on to the data. Lance, what's been your experience with that type of situation?
I mean, typically you would think at least maybe 2 weeks is typically what we see, but it can be shorter than that. It can be longer than that, but you don't want to wait and assume that the video surveillance system is going to keep the data forever, because they almost all override at some point. Their storage capacity is limited, and it's always a balance between how large the storage system is versus and that dictates kind of how long it's going to be kept for, unless they're given notice. And then if you've given notice to the person holding the video footage and they still allow it to be destroyed, in some situations you can even seek sanctions based on that. It's typically if they're the adverse party, not some uninterested third party. But normally we want to have that letter out, as soon as we can, sooner rather than later, but certainly would like to have it out within a week. And if we can't get it out within 2 weeks, or
the moment it comes in.
Yeah, as soon as it comes in the door, we want to get the preservation letter out, because you never know, and it varies from business to business how long it's going to be there.
Just this past week we retained, we have investigators that we retain frequently. We had an investigator go out, and he canvassed a neighborhood and was able to find footage of an accident. And then, just a few months ago, same investigator, we sent him out, and he was able to get Ring doorbell footage in a residential situation that actually proved to be very, very helpful. It was literally moments before impact, and it really solidified the case. that we have. So, getting that evidence, preserving that evidence is super important. And as we like to say around Perry and Young, speed is king. And if you come in and it's 2 weeks later, we're going to try to get that letter out, hand delivered the next day. If it's 3 weeks later, we'll do it. If it's a month later, we'll do it. If it's 60 days, we'll do it. But sooner the better, because that's the more likelihood that you're going to have that evidence available to you.